All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a little Wednesday night NASCAR '08 doubleheader on the channel. Our first doubleheader, obviously, with this game, and our first non-super speedway set of races as well, as we're at California Speedway, a 2-mile oval intermediate track for the running of the San Bernardino County 100. 100 instead of 200 because it's a 50% race. That is the reason for this being a doubleheader. So we will run two different series, same racetrack, no qualifying, no practice, and we will be obviously starting at the tail end of the field with that being the case. I'm curious to see what this track is going to race like in this game. If it's like the earlier EA games, it was actually one of the most strugglesome intermediate tracks for me. It seemed like here in Michigan, for some reason, I had a hard time trying to find the balance of the right amount of grip as well as the right amount of speed in the race car, because I could never get both. I either had a lot of grip and no speed, or a lot of speed and no grip. So I went with a combination of both, hopefully, to try to find a better setup to give ourselves the best chance to win this race. Obviously, starting at the back and cutting this race in half, it's not going to be very likely that we're going to lead a bunch of laps for one. For two, might take us out of win contention right out of the rip, especially in the truck race, with that only being more than likely a one-stopper. It could be a two-stop race when we get to the Busch Series. We'll just have to wait and see exactly how far we can go in a full fuel run, because obviously running 50% of a full race, I would imagine that's going to cut the fuel run down quite a bit as well. Maybe we see a fuel mileage race in both races here today. Maybe one or the other, maybe none of them. Everything's going to be a mystery for myself going into this one. If you missed the season openers at Daytona, we did win across the board. We swept Speedweeks for maybe the first time in the channel history. I'd have to go back into the archives and find out through Thunder '04. Well, that would have been easier because there was no Busch or Truck Series. So from '05, '06, '07, I don't know that I swept every single race. Might have been the first. Thriller last night in the Daytona 500, winning it with Casey Kane. Came down to the wire. By far the most competitive race of any Daytona race we had throughout Speedweeks. Obviously won the dual race earlier in that stream. As sweeping Speedweeks at Daytona, we did win the truck opener, obviously. So as we go into this race, Mike Skinner already does have a win this season. Without further ado, let's get this one underway. Again, 50 laps in race number one. And we'll see if Mike Skinner can go from 36 to first. And is the field going to be slow getting up to speed at every track in this game, or is it just a Daytona problem? As we get up to speed through first and second gear, got to move to the outside. Not bad, but I will say they got up to speed much quicker today than what we saw at Daytona all the way through Speedweeks, especially in the Truck Series. They seem to be even worse in the trucks. We're already seeing a lot of lane changing down the back straightaway. Restarts are crazy here in Fontana. You can see already at the back of the pack, it is getting pretty gnarly. Nearly 4 wide off the exit of the corner, and I think there was a slight checkup because of that. Just enough room to get to the outside. Little bump draft on the front stretch, trying to get this truck in front of us going. We're going to be up the middle 3 wide on the second lap as we enter turn 1. This truck feels a little too loose, not going to lie. Eric Darnell leads. I'm not sure if he started on the pole or not. Turn off black flags. There isn't a black flag setting specifically. At least that I noticed. Man, we're giving up so much time in the middle of the corner. I don't think it was going to matter if I qualified the speed we're running in the race right now. Legend difficulty. When I'm really having to steer a lot more in the center of the corner to try to keep it off the truck to our outside, it's when I'm getting the most loose. And if I'm not in the draft down the straightaway, I definitely can't carry as much speed on corner entry as the rest of the field. Just kind of keep going back and forth on some of these guys. Make a pass, we get crossed right back over again. Almost 6 seconds off the race lead from Darnell right now. We're already at lap 5 of 50. Major run down the back straightaway, entering turn 3. 3 wide to the inside now. Got the left sides down on the apron. But as we just struggle to get through the center of the corner on the speed side of things, try to pick it right back up in the draft again. Up the middle. 3 wide for about 30th. Desperately try not to make contact with anybody, and there was contact with the 122 there. He got a little loose and lost more spots than we did. Harder champion difficulty. The settings in the EA games, it was rookie, veteran, or legend. So legend obviously being the hardest of the 3. But yeah, we've always ran legend. Got one truck out of the race that blew an engine. Another one down on the bottom of the track. I was trying to get out of the way. Caution's out for the first time. Well, that was tough. I was kind of... Obviously, we were on the apron. Even if I was right on the white line, I felt I was going to be at risk of clipping that car that was down on the apron blowing an engine. And to avoid the lap truck at the bottom of the racetrack, I just kind of had to run the truck to our outside up the hill a little bit, and we ended up being the one that spun out. So caution flag is out. Not going to be able to pit for fuel or tires here, being the cause of the incident. First caution of the Truck Series season. We didn't have a yellow the entire 100-lap full Daytona race 2 days ago. Really no damage to repair on this race truck. A lot of rubber on the white. Look at that. Getting dirty. I like how the graphics have actually added that in this game. Well, I feel great. I know you're talking about the Red Wings 5 wins in a row. That's wild. Fire their coach. Lose the first game by a lot. Still looked like nothing changed, and then they rip off 5 wins in a row. Overtime winner yesterday. It was a big one. Only 2 points out of the 8 seed now, too. A lot of teams to jump between us in the 8 seed, but they're definitely in the thick of it. They were before, but even more so now. All right, green flag back in the air. Fighting through traffic right now. These tires have to be shot after that slide. Obviously wasn't able to change tires with the caution flag coming out. Eric Darnell fighting for his life at the very front of the field, trying to hold on to the lead. And all the way on the apron looking for grip here is Mike Skinner. And there's nothing down there. Well, there was grip down there, but there wasn't any speed to make the passes on the trucks that Skinner had to run on. Field bunched back together. We haven't been better than 30th place. So 31st right now is about as good as we've been. Definitely more on the struggling side of things for Skinner today. Less than 40 laps to go. The longer I can stay in the draft behind somebody, the more speed we have. I'll tell you what, it doesn't take much contact to get both me and the truck that we make contact with sideways. 4 positions lost to 1 corner just because of a little bit of contact. You wouldn't think it's much. These vehicles are definitely more sensitive in this game than what we had in the last game. It's a deep dive trying to make that pass on the 6 of Quapple. Oh, that was a bad block by the 137. Skinner had the run on him. Even Quapple thought about blocking too. Ended up not doing it. Draft is definitely very, very strong here at California, which I could have expected it to be. But it's maybe even more so than what I initially expected. Trouble! Looked like we were about to have trouble. One truck was completely sideways in the bottom lane. I saw the stack up, and I'm surprised that truck that got sideways kept it off the wall. I think it was this orange and black truck to our outside right now. One of the fantasy drivers. We do stay green. I would have liked to caution, honestly, to get off strategy a little bit. Obviously, we can't be the cause of it. Have that potentially work out for us. It's one of the couple trucks that blew an engine on the initial laps of this race. Coming back out onto the racetrack, so similar to what we saw in the Daytona 500 yesterday with Mike Wallace in the 09. There's a little contact on the front stretch between those 2 cars that were in front of us, and couldn't quite clear the second one by the time we drove it off into turn 1. And ended up getting past yet again. This truck is too good down the straightaways. But the handling is just not there in the corners. Definitely going to have to tighten it up. 31st, halfway out of gas this point in the run. Going to bump draft the truck in front of us now. Being aggressive with the bump draft. Letting go into the corners. Try to tag him on the back straightaway again as well. I don't think I'd be as loose this early in the run still had we not spun out. I think the Walmart truck in the 101 is leading. Man, I wish I could just complete these passes. Very close to the wall up on the high side. I'm doing everything I can. Trying to make room. Almost halfway through the race. Nine seconds off the lead already. Well, we can try our best to learn from the truck race. Apply that to the pre-race setup for the Busch Series, knowing we're going to have the same circumstance with starting at the back with no practice or qualifying. 3 wide middle entering this last corner. Just got cleared by this 163 truck. Skinner going to give a bump draft on the outside lane to the 117. Big time push. Won a title in NASCAR 05 in the 117. There you go. '28th has been about as good as it gets in this race, and almost it had a crash on the back straightaway. Bad block, it looked like, in the middle of the backstretch. Nearly turned a race truck back across the track into the wall. Just able to have enough room to make it to the outside and miss the potential crash. The truck behind me, who was in the outside lane, actually did get taken into the wall by that truck, but we do stay green, as we did not see a caution. Unfortunately for Mike Skinner, he's lost the draft of the trucks in front of him. That really broke things up quite a bit. Albeit Skinner is now up to 25th, which is as high as he's been in the running order so far tonight. Almost halfway through this 50-lap race. Yeah, I saw your first comment about the Wings being third best in the power play. Yeah, they've had a good power play all season, really. Scoring even more power play goals, and definitely helping that winning streak. "13 seconds off the lead." Yeah, I just don't have the speed. This truck in front of us might be pitting. Although he's running pretty high in the middle of the corner, so he's probably not. He had a very low dive, probably 2/3, 3/4 of the way down the back straightaway. Usually when they do that, it means they're coming to pit road, but that was not the case for him. Looking to make a pass for 24th. So move us up 12 positions from the start. Though there are 2 or 3 trucks that are completely out of the race. Definitely going to have to make a 4-tire stop. And we're definitely going to make a wedge adjustment while we're at it as well. Absolutely losing the trucks in front of us. It's amazing how quick they pulled away. Skinner with the bump draft. He's doing all he can to try to gain more time. It's really amazing how much this bump draft is actually working, though. Skinner just plowing the back of the truck in front of him, although a little too much, too deep into the corner, and he had a big moment getting into turn 3. I don't know how I was able to make that pass. All these guys are starting to check up, it seems. We've gained about 1.5 seconds just doing that. deficit isn't as bad as it was. 131 truck battling Eric Darnell for the lead. Front of the pack. Still nobody's hit pit road. .24 to go. Big run for Skinner and a push to the back of the next truck. And all that did was really move him up the racetrack. And Mike Skinner's up to 20th. Behind the 6 of Quapple. Trucks. Back straightaway, Skinner with a bump draft. Maybe a little air loose with the trucks right behind us. We didn't have that issue at Daytona at all in any series, but that's what it felt like right there. That seemed very reminiscent of NASCAR 07. Got to within 12.5 seconds off the lead, and all of a sudden, just over 14 seconds back yet again. Almost overcorrected at that time. Quapple appears to be coming to pit road this time. Skinner will stay out at least one more lap. And pretty much every truck that was in that group of a half a dozen or maybe just a little more than that will hit pit road that time. Currently working lap 29. Our fuel light's flashing, so we'll be pitting this time. I don't want to run out of gas. Still 9 trucks ahead of us still have to pit. And there's several behind us that have to pit yet too. So we're not going to be the very last truck to pit road. Shake and bake indeed. Lancelot, thanks for tuning in. The Wednesday is going. Kind of an up and down day, really. As far as the work day went. Make sure we don't speed coming into the pits there. We'll top off on fuel, 4 fresh tires. We're going to put a round and a half of wedge in it. It's going to tighten it up quite a bit. Going to drop the air pressure 1 pound all the way around. So a couple of adjustments on the only stop of the race here for the Truck Series. Daniels was sick last night. Griffin's announcer, Bob Kaser, took over. Didn't he broadcast the game a little earlier this season, too? Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in. Got to cycle off of pit road in a pretty good spot here. And again, hopefully this wedge adjustment's going to help for Skinner. 19th, which is about where we were when we came into the pits, was 19th, 20th. Didn't gain, didn't lose any spots. So I'll take it. We were actually just behind Quapple. We'll cycle out right in front of him. .18 seconds off the lead. Interval time-wise, we did lose to the leaders, but position-wise, we're still right about where we were. And hopefully tightening the racetrack up was the right way to go here for the 5 of Skinner, as he pulls Quapple on the front stretch. Still 20 laps to go in the race. Truck feels better now that it's tight. More glued to the racetrack, to me at least. Tried to have a better setup to start. It was definitely way too free. Burning the tires off the race truck as well early in that run definitely didn't help. Got to take better control of our tires in the Busch Series race if we're going to want a chance to win. That race is an extra 25 laps compared to this one. Our Cup race tomorrow will be a 50% race as well, so it'll be 250 miles, 125 laps. on your 4th straight game on College Football 25. I actually haven't played in a couple days. I'll maybe play a game or two after the stream today. .4 seconds off the lead. We are gaining. 42 flat was our best lap. I'm not sure if that was after we exited pit road or not. I would imagine that was the case. This truck definitely feels a lot better than it was. Is there any more positions to be gained, though, for Mike Skinner before the end of the race? 14.6 back. 14.5. It's hard to trust the interval in this game, though. I feel like there is a lot of rubber banding, which I remember JC in the chat. I don't know if he's watching right now, but I remember him mentioning something about that back when we were still playing NASCAR 07. I completely understand what he's saying now, because I felt that at Daytona a little bit, but I'm feeling it even more here. Like Daytona, I'm on the throttle so much, but here I'm having to burp it in the corners to make the corner. Hate to finish this far outside the top 10, but I'd almost take a 19th place finish, honestly. Too sloppy of a start for us. Truck is better. If we had one more set of pit stops left, I think I can still make some more adjustments. But we're giving ourselves at least a good starting point for the Busch series. I just got to hope that the Busch cars are going to be similar on the handling side of things with a similar setup to that of the trucks, which that we're not going to know for sure until we get there. Not dealing with any traffic right now like we did for pretty much the entire first run of the race. Also making for better lap time for Skinner. P-Chat, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, stay safe out there for sure. I didn't even hear of the fires in California until I got home today. Usually when I'm on my phone on break, more often than not, I'm just listening to music. It's during NASCAR season. I'll try to catch up on some headlines so that way I can prepare myself for the upcoming live commentary stream. But yeah, I'm not really looking at the news or anything. So I did not see any of that until I got home today. When do those fires start? Have they been going on for a little bit and they've just escalated today, or? Kind of coincidentally, we're running at the California Speedway for the next couple of days on the channel, but yeah, thoughts and prayers definitely with everybody out west. I don't know a lot in detail of exactly what's going on with it. How close to, like, Los Angeles are we talking? Is it pretty close to the city? I know many, many people have been affected by it. But geographically speaking, I haven't read up on really a whole lot with it. Amazon Prime is going to sponsor Chase Elliott for 3 races. Oh, that's interesting. Midday yesterday, the wind caused a spread. Hate to hear it. So far away from anybody behind us, I'd be shocked if we get caught. Maybe we'll get lucky and another driver or two will drop out of the race before the finish and we can gain a couple spots that way, but definitely not going to look like a top 10. And more than likely not going to finish inside the top 15 either. 12 laps to go right now. Trying to get used to using this keypad as well. No Kings game tonight. Three fires around Los Angeles. Eesh. It seems like an abnormal time of the year. I feel like aren't the wildfires that usually pop up in the state of California more in the warmer months? Well, I guess it's kind of warm there depending on what part of California you're in year round, so I guess maybe that's not as surprising now that I think about it. Fire near Pasadena. It's closest to you. Yeah, that is pretty close to the greater Los Angeles area. That's where UCLA Bruins are. We were gaining time there at the very beginning of this run. We cut the lead down to 11 seconds. 11 and a half, roughly. Definitely starting to lose them now. I think Eric Darnell might have a problem. I don't think he's leading anymore. The 131's out in front. I did not see Darnell in the top couple positions. Last I glanced at the leaderboard and as well as the track map, seeing that he was no longer the leader. To wait for it to pop up next time around and see exactly where he's at. Even Travis Kvapil, who was just behind us when we cycled off of pit road, he's back to 24th. When he was in 20th. He was quite a ways ahead of other cars, too. So we got Irving leading. Darnell's in second. Vance actually was the leader after Darnell, and now Vance is back to third. Only 7 non-fantasy drivers in this game, so obviously there's going to be a lot of fantasy drivers up in the top 10 positions as you see on screen. Honestly, relaxing to watch. Glad. Truck is still freeing up as the run carries on. Not as bad, though, as what the first run was. Eric Darnell, who is probably going to go down to lead the most laps of the race, is now back in the lead. So the lead is changing hands quite a bit at the front. I would imagine it's a drafting pack within at least the top 3 in the running order. So it's definitely going to come down to a pretty close finish amongst them. Hoping for a caution to maybe get a few more spots before the end of this race, but I doubt we're going to get that. We haven't had a yellow not caused by me in this series. Again, we didn't catch a caution at all in the season opener at Daytona. And the only caution today was contact with another truck, and we ended up going for a spin down in the grass in turns 1 and 2. Didn't damage the truck any, and was never able to fight all the way back through the field, obviously. This is as high in the running order as we've been the whole race, so I'll take it, even though it's not a good finish. I just did not have a good setup to start off with, and although it's better, there's still room for improvement with it. We were just so far behind everybody else when we cycle off a pit road. It was going to be tough to catch anybody. I thought we were going to catch this next truck in front of us who has also kind of lost the lead draft a little bit. But we're running out of time even to catch him as well. Darnell loses the lead right in the middle of 3 and 4 yet again, coming around for 4 laps to go this time by in the San Bernardino County 100. This definitely was not the title sponsor of the truck race the season before in NASCAR 07. Darnell's now no longer even in the top 5. Back to 8th place is Eric Darnell after losing the lead, and that might take him out of a contention shot for the win. Johnny Benson just a couple positions ahead of us in 15th. Kind of looking at guys who we're probably going to be competing for the championship with. And where they're running. It's the shortest of our 3 seasons, only 25 races. And it is a full season-long points format. So this 19th place finish is definitely not going to be great for us. 3 to go. At least I haven't noticed it before, but that pack of trucks behind us is slowly catching us. Still think they're not going to have enough time to get all the way to us, though. Now we've net lost since we came out of the pits a little over a second to the leaders. 19th is better than last, yep. Top 20. Oh, it took place exactly. Noticing that it wasn't there last lap, I'd like to think they came out of the lead pack. 2 to go. They're racing hard as we get closer to the finish. And again, we still have to run the Busch Series after this. That will be 75 laps on this stream, so don't go anywhere after this race. Outrunning TJ Bell, Chad McCumbee. Back in that pack of trucks behind us. Lap and a half to go now for us. White flag will be waving off of turn 4 this time. Final lap here at the California Speedway. Irving leads. Carswell is in second. Several laps led, several different times for Irving. Eric Darnell now back to 9th place. Looks like all fantasy drivers going to make up the top 5 as they come for the checkered flag. And now the 101 with a pass for the lead in 3 and 4 on the final lap. And that will probably be for the win, as he will hold on to get to the line. Last lap pass for the win here in tonight's truck race at California. And 20 seconds off the lead is going to be our driver, Mike Skinner, here. Honestly, we were probably 2 or 3 more laps away from losing this 19th place position to the trucks behind us, but we held on long enough. Ran 19th the whole run. Not ideal for the first race of the doubleheader. We'll see where we can pick up in our Busch event with Martin Truex Jr. Good thing we got the dominating win at Daytona. Woody Irving apparently blew up coming to the checker. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it said DNF next to Irving, who finished 4th. He might have been blowing up coming to the checkered flag. That could have been the reason for him losing the lead on the last lap. Could you imagine if that actually was the case, though? Spencer Carswell gets the win in the Walmart truck. Does that mean we get like 10% discount at Walmart or something? That's what that should mean. For all customers. Day after race. 41 minutes, 53 seconds total time on this one here. One caution again, 33 lead changes. That's a lot of lead changes for a 50-lap race. So many so that I don't believe it, but at the same time, you look at the different leaders here, it looked like a super speedway race. 3, 6, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 12. Then some zeros, couple threes, 1, 2, 6, 0 for us. Probably more back here. 2, 1. Crazy. Billy Chapman, Spencer Claiborne, Craig Kinzer, and M. Davis all blew an engine in this race. So looks like 4 drivers failed to make it to the finish. 32 finished on the lead lap out of the original 36 starters. No laps led for us here in this one. And again, a 19th place finish. Our top 10, Carswell with the win, H. Jackson in second, Wilson Eubanks in third, W. Irving fourth, Chapman fifth, Vance sixth, Johnny Benson seventh, highest finishing of the actual drivers from this season. Eric Darnell was eighth, George Tingen in ninth, and Jay Thomas rounds out the top 10. I believe Johnny Benson is our only teammate in this series. Making sure they didn't pair any of the fantasy drivers up with us like they did in the older games. And that is not the case. So Benson definitely outran us here in this one. We'll take a look at the point standings real quick. Obviously, it's still going to be pretty tight towards the top of the leaderboard with only being 2 races into the season. Our next race will be under the lights at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And that will likely be a full 100% race. We have 4 50% races on the season. Obviously, this was one of them. So Carswell is going to be the actual points leader. Skinner only falls back to third, 39 points out of first. Not 100% confident that all of these fantasy drivers are going to run every race because that was the case in NASCAR 07, that they did not run every race because there's so many of them. Though there's more of them in the truck series in this game, so maybe they run them all. There isn't enough to cover more than 36 starting spots. Well, we've had at least one more than 36 drivers, so 2 drivers have not ran the first 2 races. 35 of them have. Darnell's 4th in points. Led the most laps in this one, too. Johnny Benson's 12th in the standings. All right, I'll save this and then I'll load the other profile so we can get the Busch race underway. Again, no practice or qualifying, but I'll have a better idea for setup on what to do moving into the next one. I might add a little bit more downforce too. I'm scared to take too much speed out of it though. So we just had a night race at California. Day race will be next. Had a dream Dale Jr. drove in a truck series race. I don't think he's ever made a truck start. So that would definitely be a dream. Sounds like a fever dream. Although him in the black number 3 truck, I could see that. Even though that technically wasn't his. All right, I do have a little bit more downforce. That will be the slight modification from what I had in the truck series. There should be a little bit less grip with these Busch cars because they should be slightly faster too than what the trucks were running. It's still relatively slow to the cup side. All right, let's try this again. Get the sound back on. Green flag in the air. Greg Biffle on the pole. Clint Boyer starting second, and we are underway at California for race 2 of our doubleheader. Check up on the initial start, being on the inside lane, able to pass a few race cars down the front stretch and entering turn 1. Truex sits in 38th. '41 car underneath them. I'm not sure if that's the Stremme 41 or the Sorensen 41. I believe they both are in the 41. Little too tight. Little too tight. So I was too loose in the truck race, and now I'm too tight in the Busch series. Up against the fence there. Yeah, this is way too tight. Kenseth to the lead quickly. Real life, the Busch Series was a night race. I think the Cup race was too, wasn't it? Though that might have been because of a rain delay. But I definitely remember the Cup race at least finishing that night at the very least, because Kenseth won. Oh, no, I was thinking of 2009. 09 was the race I was thinking of, top of my head. Maybe it was a day race in 07 here. For the second day. And I definitely know the summer date was that night. Fell right back to last very quickly. Yeah, I'm going to have to free it up. Yeah, this is where practice comes in handy, because I was too loose in the trucks and now I'm too tight in the Busch series. I mean, well, that might loosen me up a little bit. That was a big power slide. I had no business keeping up with this car in front of me after that contact. They must have checked up or something. Can't run this outside lane, just too tight to do it. I can't carry as much speed as I need to actually make it work and actually get some speed up there. This guy's blocking me like crazy right now, too. It's making for a difficult pass. I think that's Marcus Ambrose that's leading in the 59 car. NASCAR drifting, yep. I'd argue this is worse than the truck series. Loses fast if he can hold on to it. I have to lift so much to keep this thing pinned to the bottom of the track, as I did better through 3 and 4. We'll say it feels more tight in 1 and 2 than what it does in 3 and 4. It's only lap 6. 70 to go. B+ equipment in the Busch series with Truex on every style of racetrack. Actually, we have more competitive equipment here in both the Cup and the Truck series than what we will have for this Busch season. Hopefully we can get better than 19th like we did in the truck race. Really trying to do my best to lift more and keep the car pinned to the bottom. Having a really, really hard time with it. 3 wide back straight away as we enter turns 3 and 4. Really got to keep it tight to the bottom, but instead we just go tight up the track and more contact was made. And now time lost. 29 car now out in front. Caution pit, free up the car. Yes, indeed. Gonna have to pause it when I get down the back straightaway. It's my pick of my fantasy football draft. My phone's getting blown up by like 3 different people right now. If anybody's heard the buzzing. Got a fantasy football playoff draft going right now. They were waiting on me yesterday too. They've only been waiting on me for 4 minutes. Apparently they were waiting for like 2+ hours while I was streaming our Daytona 500. I had no clue they started. I had the second pick. Finished 6th place in the regular season this year. 9-9 record. I feel like everybody's got a good team by way of talent right now. Till we get deeper into this draft for this week. We redraft every week during the week. Yeah, I've only been on the clock for 6 minutes. We just basically pick when we have a chance to. But everybody's been pretty quick with it, honestly. Usually this takes like all week leading up to Saturday's games, but let's go by quick this year. I knew who I wanted. I was going to take Bo Nix. Sam Darnold's still out there. He's probably the safer pick, but Nix is putting up better fantasy numbers, and I think he's going to... Well, what's the weather supposed to be like in Buffalo? Let me check that real quick. I'm definitely taking a quarterback here. It's going to be Darnold or Nix. Chat can help me. Anybody that knows football, should I take Sam Darnold or Bo Nix for my fantasy quarterback for this week only? Because if I win, we just redraft again next week. If I lose, I'm out. Gotta go. Great stream. Watch later. Yeah, appreciate it, man. I mean, it's obviously going to be cold in Buffalo. Are they getting snow? Shoot, what time is that game, too? I don't even know. Is that the 1 o'clock game or is that the night game? I know it's not 4:30. That's when my Packers play. They've got the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. 32. They're supposed to get snow on Saturday, but Sunday it doesn't look like it. No snow in the forecast for Buffalo on Sunday. 32 degrees. It's actually going to be warmer there than what it is here, where I live. All right. Yeah, I'm definitely taking Bo Nix then. Darnold's actually played against the Rams earlier this year. I think he only put up 16 points. Because I was looking at that earlier. Yeah, he had 16. 1 passing touchdown, 240 yards. 18 completions. He only had 16 points. Bo Nix hasn't played Buffalo yet this year. He scored 29 last week. 29-20. This is a fairly low-scoring league, by the way. Ryan Berwick, thanks for tuning in. Like how my dad's in the chat telling me it's my pick too. Telling you, this is a big deal. All right, yeah, I got my pick. What's the chat saying? Chat's saying Darnold. I feel like he is the safer of the two. I definitely understand that logic. I do have Addison already, too, so I can kind of double him up. Yeah, look at the guy I'm playing. Who does he have? He's got Jefferson. Did he take a quarterback yet? Because he's probably taking Darnold if he's got Jefferson. He did not take a quarterback, but he's also got Sutton, too, so I guess it's... He's probably going to take either one. He's probably going to take the guy I don't take. This is a tough decision here. I know we got to get back to the race. I got to make up my mind here very quickly. I knew who I wanted before it was my pick, and now I'm starting to second guess myself. That's the problem. Yeah, I'm seeing that. We got more people are saying go Darnold in the chat. Oh man. I like how it's been my pick already, and it just now alerted me. Nix has been hotter than Darnold too. As of the last 4 weeks. Not that Darnold's doing bad. Because he's still putting up. He didn't have a good week last week. The scary thing with that is it was against a good team, and that's all he's going to be facing going forward. 16. It's tough. This is tough. It's probably not going to matter. They're probably going to end up scoring the same anyway. Within a few points of each other. I think I got to stick with my gut, honestly. I was going to take Knicks before. Started second guessing myself. Ugh. Yeah, give me Knicks. Bo Nix it is. I'm satisfied with it. I was going to take him anyway. Bo Nix is now a member of the Cheeseheads for Wildcard Weekend 2025. There we go. All right. – one quick second to text the guy who's up now, and I will be back to racing here in a couple of seconds. All right. I got to find his number real quick. Give me a second. Thought this was going to be quicker. Here we go. All right, where were we? Lap 9. Lap 9 of 75 with a tight race car. That's where we were. Gonna just go straight up the racetrack. I don't want to lose these guys in front of me and fall out of the draft. It was kind of a problem the entire second half of the truck race. See J.J. Ailey leading, as he was doing early at Daytona as well. Earl Arnold Jr. and Christopher Kennedy, thanks for tuning in. Who am I driving as a Bull Series? Truck Series, Mike Skinner. Martin Truex Jr. in this series. Casey Kane in the Cup. Darnold's not good against the main defense. That was another thing, too, when I was looking on there. It seemed like against better teams, he definitely wasn't putting up as good of numbers unless he was playing the Packers. Like, that was the only team it looked like he would consistently play well against. They had a good defense. But he's not playing the Packers this weekend, so I like it. I like it. I liked it before I started the stream, and then as it was my pick, I was more on the fence about it than what I initially was. It's just the thought of him probably taking Darnold is what's going to end up happening. The guy that I'm playing, and he's already got Justin Jefferson. I did take Saquon Barkley, though. I'm surprised he didn't get taken first overall, so there's that. Got A.J. Brown, too. I've got Bo Nix and got Addison, as I mentioned. I'm in a good spot. Slowly catching this pack of cars in front of me. The two of Clint Boyer's out in front in the BB&T car. 6.3 seconds off of the race leader Boyers, where we're at currently interval-wise compared to the front runners, 39th place. Hope everyone's ready for a massive snowstorm. Yeah, definitely stay safe. Those of you getting hit by it. I had to drive through it on the way home. It wasn't too bad, but I was definitely having precautions. As were others on the highway. It wasn't really that bad when I was on I-75, but when I got off the highway, it was starting to get a little worse out there. And I can imagine that my trip to work tomorrow morning is going to be very lengthy. More lengthy than my trip back home, so I'll be up earlier than usual. Dale Campbell, thanks for tuning in also. Good evening to you. Somebody blew an engine recently because we're in 38th now. I was in 39th for about the last 5 laps or so. Shoving. Really didn't think I was going to go all the way to the wall that time. I thought I was going to catch it before we got against it off the exit of the corner, but that was not the case. from what I've heard by local meteorologists in the Toledo area, that this is lake effect snow is what I'm getting right now. So it's just kind of popping up. I don't think it's the snowstorm that you're talking about. They're definitely supposed to get more than I'm supposed to get. I'm surprised by how quick it was accumulating, too, because when I was stopped waiting on traffic or at a red light, there was snow accumulating pretty quick on my everything, really, on the car, on the hood, the windshield. It was sticking. Caution's out for the first time today. Trouble in turns 1 and 2. Single car spin off the front bumper of another car. Looked like two fantasy drivers getting together. Not sure exactly where they were on track as far as position goes, but first yellow. Had one caution in the truck race. We've got one caution here in the Busch race. We're going to hit pit road. I'm not sure if this is going to be a 1 or 2 stop race. If it's a 2-stopper, I would imagine we're in the window. It doesn't look like anybody else is coming down. We're only going to lose a few positions, so give me the fresh tires. We'll try to take advantage of this. Going to take a half a round of wedge out of the car. Drop the air pressure 1 pound all the way around. We'll top off on fuel, and again, taking 4 fresh tires. We're not going to have to worry about our tire limit today with this being a 50% race, so going for broke here. Tail end of the field. Like I said, we're only dropping back about 4 or 5 positions. Not even, really, when you consider the fact there's a couple cars out of the race already, so. Got to do something different while we're back here if we're going to want to be more competitive than what we were in the truck race. Finished 19th there, and honestly, by way of speed, I actually think I have a worse car on speed just because of how tight it is. It's handling better, but it's not as quick as what it was in the truck series. That's because when you're looser, your tendency is to be a bit quicker than if you're more on the tight side, because you're not having to lift as much. You're having to put more throttle to keep the car straight. More throttle here, I'm just driving it into the wall, because I've hit the wall about 3 times already. Green flag back in the air. Biffle back in the lead for the restart as well, lap 20. And we will have 56 laps to go in race 2 of our doubleheader. That was a lot of contact for what felt like a very little hit. Felt like I just got glued on him. I'm surprised we didn't get a caution for that. So much for putting fresh tires on the thing, because I think we just cooked it. Maybe they'll still have something of an impact compared to the rest of the field here. Didn't know Truex raced the 11. I honestly didn't either. I was shocked to see that in this game, that he drives the 11 car. Well, the caution helped us for sure. We're a little bit closer to the lead than what we were. We're back into 39th again, only gaining that 1 spot on the restart. 2 spots, actually. I think I was 41st. Another car that's very slow in the middle of turns 3 and 4, and that's another position. Looked like it was the 59 of Marcus Ambrose. So Ambrose appears to be done for the day. I doubt we can make it to the end of this race on fuel. It seems like a long time for it being a 50% race to be able to go 56 laps. Restarted at lap 20. Maybe there's a chance we go rights only or maybe fuel only. If we can manage the tires enough. Even then, I still think that's going to be quite a bit. Definitely went the right way with the adjustment. The car's still a little tight, but it's not as bad as it was. Made a bit of contact with the 110. Nobody got loose that time, thankfully. Kept our speed up for the most part. Obviously scrubbed a little bit off, but not bad. Car's not tight to the point where it wants to go all the way to the wall, but it's still tight. I think I'm going to put that little bit of air pressure back into it, honestly. Maybe put even more than I had in it at the start of the race, too. Quick bump draft on the back straightaway. Not only trying to keep the speed up for ourselves, but the cars around us. That was working better in the truck series. Haven't had an opportunity to really do that in the Busch race. Got another car returning to the track that is going to be off the pace and slow like we had in the truck series. Although we didn't really catch that driver, so maybe they didn't actually come back into the race like our crew chief initially said they were going to. Way wide off turn 2 there. And Matt Kenseth is back as the leader. A heavily Roush-dominated race today at California. Biffle's led a lot. Kenseth's led quite a bit. And the combination of the two of them trying to get their way to victory lane. Surprised the car actually got loose that time. It's so weird. I underdrive the car to try to make the turn. And the rear tires slide a little bit more. When I try to just sail it off in there, obviously it's tight still. Not as tight as it was before, but it is tight. Able to keep the rear tires underneath me at least. I can't believe I'm worse than what I was in the truck race. More contact. I cannot make a pass on anybody without making contact. Oh, trouble! Back straight away. We got a car around and the caution flag's out right in front of us. Barely able to miss it. I saw debris scattering across the back straightaway as well there and had to miss the debris as well as the oncoming traffic. All right, we kept her clean. 184 car took a couple of pops there. Second caution, we didn't have anything to do with either one, so that's good. If they all end up hitting pit road here, I think I got to pit with them. I'm going to pit regardless. It looks like they're staying out again. We've got at least one car pitting. We're not the only ones coming to pit road. We're going to put 2 pounds of air pressure into the car here. That's going to be the only adjustment for this stop. Second pit stop of the race for Truex as they continue to try to make adjustments to get this thing better. But with these two yellows, what are we going to be looking like for fuel to the end of the race? Because we're not that far from the halfway point. About 37, 38 laps is going to be halfway. And by the time we get to this next restart, we're probably going to be right around lap 30. And again, we are not the only one on pit road, so there will be somebody to have to race. And hopefully if we take care of the tires on this restart better than we did the last time, we can make some moves. That one driver that did pit beat us out of the pits, although they were a handful of positions ahead of us as it was. And they still have some damage also, so we'll see if we get any debris yellows. Lap 32, so we're actually beyond lap 30. We're 6 laps away from halfway on the restart. It's 184. Has a very crinkled hood. Somebody blew an engine on the restart. We got by them as well. I can't even tell who's leading on the track map. I just missed it on the screen. Actually, you know what? It was Casey Kane. It was the 9 of Casey Kane. A little more contact with the 184. He was the one that was caught up in the incident. So maybe no surprise he pitted for that reason. Car's still too tight. I'm doing what I can to try to free this thing up, and it's just not enough. It still wants to shove. That was bad that time. Plowing tight for Mark Truex Jr. .126 car slowing everybody up, and I think he was the slow car that came out of the pits before that last caution. Bump draft to the back of the car, just in front of Truex. Paul Blackburn. I've gotten that before from somebody at work. And I don't see it, but other people see it. I feel like when you look at yourself in the mirror every day, you have a pretty good idea of what you look like. So when you see somebody, although other people might say you look like them, to you yourself, you probably don't feel like you look like them. I've always felt I look like a less handsome version of Hendrik Zetterberg. That's what I've always thought. I'm like, I look just like this guy, but I still, for some reason, don't look as good looking. I don't know how that works, but maybe it's because he's Swedish. Maybe that's the difference maker. Got to keep this race green. Cannot cause an incident at all costs. There's a chance we can win this race on fuel mileage with the way that second caution came out. First one, we were definitely not going to make it. The second one, there's a chance. We're definitely going to lead some laps and actually get bonus points, which we did not in the truck race. We have nowhere near the speed. I don't even know if we have a 30th place car on equal tires, to be completely honest. So we definitely have to take what we can get. No, I'm not Swedish. I've never gone into like the history of what kind of descent I am. I would imagine there's some Irish in there just with having the red beard. Another car blowing an engine. We've seen quite a few engine failures between both races today. We had 5 of them in the truck race, and it was only a 50%er. 50 laps. So 5 DNFs is quite a bit. About that many, if not more, here in the Busch race. It's like 39 cars are in this thing right now. Kevin Harvick's out. I didn't even realize that. Been out for about 18 laps. Lap 20, he blew an engine. Another car slow on the back straightaway. That's a position. And drivers dropping out like flies. Halfway through this race. Still no sign of anybody hitting pit road. They're probably going to go as far as they can at this point, hoping for yet another caution so they can pit under the yellow. I think we have to stay out of the pits if we catch a caution ourselves. I might be able to hang with them in the draft at the front of the field, and even if I don't win, get a solid finish. It's so weird. I put 2 pounds of air pressure in to try to free it up a little bit because it was too tight. It definitely freed up. It's loose. It's loose on entry, but it's still tight middle off. Every time I get underneath the car, look at it shove. Barely kept it off the car to the outside. I was lifting and off throttle quite a bit through that corner, making sure there was not going to be contact made. Draft on the front stretch, we're able to keep at least a decent amount of momentum up and make this pass. Just got to go one by one and take it slow. Slow and steady is going to win this race. Maybe. I'm just assuming. Gotta stay green. I overcorrected it. It's a massive slide. I overcorrected that so badly. Had a checkup of their own. Quick bump draft on the front stretch. I don't like that contact. That was not in a good spot. Making passes, though, up to 30th. And we've got cars hitting pit road at lap 42 this time. We're saving fuel in the draft. That 184 car, we're still going to have to race, though. Remember, he pitted with us. Up to 11th for Truex in the number 11. So we are going to be racing the 184. More than likely for this win. .126 car going to hold the 184 up. Into the top 10 for Truex. And up to second place with just one more car in front of him that has to pit. Finlander Polish, and Irish. Blackburn's my half-brother. Yeah, no relation to that guy. I knew of him. I had no idea what he looked like until somebody at work mentioned that a while back. It was sometime randomly in the middle of the summer. "30 laps to go this time by." I didn't notice anybody hit pit road during the first caution. I thought it was only the 184 car and the second yellow with us. Second off the lead. We still got cars cycling off pit road, but they might be drivers we were already ahead of, because we were in about 30th before the stop started. These drivers on 4 fresh tires can definitely push to the finish. Again, Martin Truex Jr. needs this race to stay green if he's going to want a shot to win it. Fuel mileage race here at California Speedway today. Didn't see that in the truck race. It was a clear one-stopper. The one caution we did have was real early in the race, the first 10 laps. But we've had 2 cautions here at Fontana in race 2 of our doubleheader in the Busch Series, plus the fact it was an extra 25 laps. And our last pit stop was under the last caution. The race started at lap 32. So we're having to go 6 laps past halfway. Is there enough in the tank? Middle to upper groove, entering turn 1 there, got real sideways. Driving that wide up on the racetrack. There's company. Just got to know that these guys are on fresher tires. Can't race them too aggressively. If anything, try to get behind them off the exit of the corner, draft down the straightaways, and keep our speed up as much as we can. Scrape against the wall off turn 2. Couple really bad corners for me. So the first run, it was tight, and it was getting tighter and tighter. Then we were on the loose side at the beginning of this run, and it's growing tighter and tighter again. And it's really only loose on corner entry when I'm under driving the car, knowing that it's probably going to be tight in the center. How much speed I need in the center of the corner. How much speed I need in the center of the corner to make the best lap I can. Three wide. The leader's in there. "25 laps to go." That was a great corner. Held it around the bottom all the way through 1 and 2. Picked up some time on the car in front of us. I just got to replicate that corner after corner. That's the problem. Now that we're 51 laps in, have we found the sweet spot? Right rear tire starting to wear a little bit. This point in the run. Only 0.4 of a second off the lead. We are halfway out of gas. But we have ran almost 20 laps to get to halfway. Tingen in the 126. Holding up just a little bit of traffic. Race leader right in front of us. Big run right in the middle of the tri-oval. .3M car right behind us. Don't know if that's Claver or Biffle. It's one of the 16 cars. Big run entering turns 3 and 4. It's hard to charge the corner entry to try to make a pass because that's when the car just gets super tight. It's hard not to make contact and pass a car all in the same corner. Get by this guy. I wonder if there's a chance we drive away from him. Deep dive down onto the apron. Oh boy, slow car. Might have been Kevin Harvick in the 21. There was contact with the leader, though, off the exit of turn 4. And that's 5 bonus points for leading the first lap of the race. For Martin Truex Jr. And trying to hold the bottom of the racetrack and hold on to the lead. Oh, contact from behind. Bit loose off the exit of turn 2 with that contact on the left rear. Might have chopped him off late. Getting into the corner. Getting off the corner. Just under 20 laps to go. Race is on. It is Harvick that's back in because he's ahead of Ambrose. And he was in last place as he was the first driver out. But again, now he's back in. So we're battling the fantasy driver Jordan as a driver we're racing with here for the win. Don't know what his first name is, but last name, Jordan. Fantasy driver. All 4 tires in the yellow on the tire wear indicator. And now going to draft behind the 16. Lap 58. He pulls away. Quite a bit of sliding going on and a scrape against the wall off turn 2. We might lose the lead. Nope, not quite. Close to losing the lead. Last name's Jordan, not first name. He has no relation with me either. He's got to run. Big block. Carried too much speed. Driving it in as low as we did on entry, getting into the corner there. That was a lap car, actually, that just passed us. That was not for position. Thought that might have been the second place car at Jordan, but it was not. It's so hard to back the corners up. It's a big slide that time, yet again. A lot of contact. And up to the wall there. Still in the lead, somehow. This car's getting snappy loose. Stephen Hoot, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, tires they're cooked. Doing my very best, trying not to wreck here. So many cars around us, too. Doesn't help matters. We're down to a quarter tank of gas. This point in the run. We're going to have to really start backing this pace up if we're going to want to make it on fuel to the finish. The problem is with backing the pace up is I just get more loose if I don't carry enough speed into the corner. Which in return is burning the rear tires up more and more. Oh, wow. Got to keep it against the wall. Caution. Caution's out. Well, we're going to have to pit now. We didn't need the yellow. I was trying to keep it green, but the car was just getting too loose on me. It's our third yellow of the day and our first one that we caused in the race. It will now be to the tail end of the lead lap. Yeah, that ruined the race right there. I don't know that we were going to make it on fuel. I think we might have been a lap or two short. But I just couldn't battle that anymore. And I was really hoping we could have potentially made it. Doubleheader snowed in. It's great. It's a good time for it. I did. All right. There's actually quite a few drivers a lap down. We're in 27. 10 laps to go. Green flag is back in the air. I'm not sure how many spots we're actually going to be able to get before the end of this race, but we're going to try to get as many as we can. Got a few of them on the restart into turns 1 and 2, and now up to 24th. The 126 car and the 21 of Harvick are slow, and they should be holding this pack up, at least to a certain extent for us, as they're doing right now, getting into turns 3 and 4. We got cars starting up the middle. We're going to try to stay along the bottom. .184 is leading, but I doubt he's going to be able to do that for very long. I overdrove it there. I got right into the car in front of us. It is a mess. Dale Jr. to the lead. Junior Nation's going wild at California Speedway. Trying to go 2 for 2 with DEI. Truex winning the opener at Daytona. Top 5 to 10, I doubt it. I don't think I have that kind of speed in the car, unfortunately. Whoa, what a late dive by the 16. And he about wrecked himself doing it. Knocked us up the racetrack, but I was able to lift in time to keep it off the wall. That was a very late dive bomb. He carried so much speed getting in there. There was no way he was going to hold that. As we saw. Couple passes up to 21st for Truex. John Wood now to the lead in the 47, getting by Earnhardt. We had a last lap pass for the win in the truck race. Will we see the same in the Busch race tonight as well? That's a good solid corner. Got the left sides down to the apron just for a split second there, but it gripped up pretty well. Same thing in 3 and 4. I think I found my line. Car doesn't get tight when I do that. Five laps left at the California Speedway. Three cautions in this second race of our doubleheader. Still trying to get a top 20 out of it. Big run off turn 2. Maybe I will have a shot at a top 10. I didn't think I was going to have a shot. It's a tight squeeze. Come on, keep turning. I didn't think it was going to turn. I thought it was going to right rear hook myself off that car we just passed. That was a lapper. That's the problem. We got some lap cars around us that I didn't really realize till just now. Car's shoving. The rear tires start to slide a little bit, then the front catches up later in the corner. I don't know what I'm going to do for a setup in the Cup race. I'm all over the place right now. Trying to figure this thing out between the truck race, between this Busch race. A lot of contact there. My goodness. That wasn't even for position either. We got somebody else pitting off turn 4. So he probably wasn't going to make it on fuel either. I'm surprised he stayed out. Kevin Conway in the 18 leads for Joe Gibbs Racing. Is Kevin Conway going to win the Busch race here at California? A lot of pushing for Martin Truex Jr. Entering this middle groove. Got hit from the car underneath. We're good. None of those passes were for position either. I'm so lost. 119's not for position. 2 to go. Way more lap cars than I was thinking. It's like Casey Kane is out in front. Into 3 and 4, coming to the white flag at the front of the field. Neither of those guys are for position either. What about these guys? Probably not. Nope. This guy isn't either. Am I a lap down? No, I'm still 5 seconds off the lead. I don't know how there were that many cars a lap down. Every single car I passed once I got to 20th was all lap down. I was thinking I might have had a shot at the top 10 too. We passed about that many cars, but not for position. Kevin Conway does hold on to win. And he actually got by Casey Kane on the last lap at some point. So both races tonight, last lap pass for the win. This one more on a later caution circumstance rather than finishing during a green flag pit cycling. So 3 yellows in race 2 of our doubleheader today. Again, 75 laps, 44 lead changes. A lot of passing at the front of the field. 3 laps led for Conway en route to his victory. It was about the same for Carswell, excuse me, in the first race. The Walmart car getting the win in the 101. 127.88 mile per hour average race speed, 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 22 seconds total time on this race. Our teammate Dale Jr. finished in 5th. Our other teammate, Paul Menard, 14th. And we were 20th, 1 spot off of the truck race. We did lead 9 laps on pit strategy, so at least we got bonus points. So all in all, we actually scored a couple more points than we did in the truck event. And similar circumstance going into the race, off a win, starting at the back, no practice, no qualifying. I have no clue. This didn't help me whatsoever for what to do setup-wise for the Cup race tomorrow. Maybe we could have saved enough gas and gotten a top 2 finish. Maybe a race win. We'll never know with that late caution coming out. Really screwed us over there. Tires were falling off the face of the earth. Gonna have to try to figure that out as well. I had more downforce in it, but I just feel like overall the speed just wasn't as good as what it was in the truck race. Even though we finished around the same spot, speed-wise, had about the same as well. Maybe a little less speed, honestly, in this Busch race. Although it looked good down the stretch, but we were passing cars that we were a lap ahead, so it didn't really do much for us. As far as trying to gauge exactly what kind of car we had speed-wise. Lappers should pull over, you would think. They definitely were not doing that. So Casey Kane ended up 2nd. He got passed on the last lap for the win. Matt Kenseth finished in 3rd. Felt like he led more than 2 laps. I swear I saw that 17 car up towards the front a bunch in this one. John Wood also led 2, finished 4th. Dale Jr. led 5, finished 5th. Sam Hornish Jr. 6th, highest of those running who did not lead a lap. Jamie McMurray was 7th. Casey Mears in 8th. Juan Pablo Montoya 9th. Danny O'Quinn Jr. rounds out the top 10. And we had 26 cars finish on the lead lap. Felt like I passed more than many that were actually lapped down at the finish. Apparently not, though. Marcus Ambrose ended up DNFing here in this one. H. Flanagan, Clint Boyer, who was leading early, blew an engine. Kevin Harvick led a lap early, blew an engine. D. Adams. And maybe C. Erickson finished a few laps down also. So it looks like 6 DNFs. We had 5 in our first race on the Truck Series, 6 in the Busch. So maybe we'll have another couple than that in the Cup Series. We'll have to wait and see. That'll be tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you for that. 50% race there as well. It'll be a 250-mile race, 125 laps. Should have multiple pit stops, I would imagine, in that, even though it was a one-stopper. Both of these races, I would imagine it's going to be around 50 laps for a full fuel run in a normal race. So 50%, maybe more than that. Maybe we see 3. I'll have to just wait and find out. Too loose. Maybe tighten it up slightly. I don't know. It was too tight early in the run. Way too tight. It was way too tight early in the run, but as the tires built air pressure over the course of the run and they started to fall off, I was getting loose. So that's why I'm so caught up, because I was definitely way too tight. The truck race, at the finish, after I made the adjustments during the only pit stop of the race, that was the best equipment I think I had the whole night as far as grip and speed. So I got to find that for the Cup Series, and it's going to be tough. We're not going to have as many pit stops to work on it. That was kind of our problem here in the Truck and the Busch Series as well. We should have more pit stops, but hopefully I have something, and trying to apply what I learned today, which wasn't much. See if we can at least get a top 10. But we're struggling at California here for this 24-hour slate. See you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. For those of you that did, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. And we'll see if we can go 2 for 2 on the season with Casey Kane on the Cup side. See you then, everybody.